Hi.
Hi.
What's your name?
Taylor.
Hi Taylor, my name's Paige. So tell me a little bit what brings you in today.
Yeah, so I am a senior here at Taylor, and I have been really stressed out with what I'm gonna be doing post-grad, and just trying to figure out all of the things of life here right now, and what am I gonna do when I graduate, and what am I gonna do for a job, and am I gonna get my master's, am I not? And so it's been really stressful, just doing life here. But on top of that, I've been having a lot of family issues back home, and so it kind of just feels like there's this pull and almost like a disconnect from either places, and I don't feel like I'm being present well in either. And I want to be present in my schooling and figure out what I'm doing post grad and do all of those things, but I don't feel like I can do those well because I have so much going on at home. But then at the same time, I can't care for what's going on at home very well because I'm here. And so it just kind of feels really hard, and that I'm trying to be in two places at once, and I'm failing at both.
That makes sense that it could be just kind of where do I go, kind of almost paralyzing it sometimes. You want to be two places at once, and you want to do it right, and just the newness of graduating is just kind of maybe creates a anxious feeling of what am I gonna do, what's it gonna look like, and I want it to be right, but when it's in the future and we can't control it, it's just hard to kind of have peace about it.
Yeah, and I guess I don't know, so much of my life has been kind of here and there, chaotic, and these last couple years have been so just free of that, and now I don't know, I kind of feel a little bitter about the fact that all my family issues are happening right now. Why couldn't they have happened a year ago? Or I don't know, it just feels really inconvenient timing to have something like this going on, and
it's kind of you haven't experienced this before, and it's all coming up at once, and it's just what can I do in both areas, and still make it right, and feel good about what you're deciding to do, and in both situations trying to be there to help and be there for your family, because correct me if I'm wrong, but family is a big part of your life, and so is school, and not being able to do school and be present with your family, and then be present with other people at school. It just seems really draining and exhausting.
Yeah, it does feel really draining, and I am trying so hard to be in both that I am missing everything that's happening in both situations. And so what's happening at home is my little sister is just she's always had some issues, and she has developmental disabilities, and but they don't inhibit her in the same ways that other disabilities do, and so she is one of the smartest people ever, and one of the kindest people ever, and has the biggest heart for caring for people, but she's had a lot of life's inconveniences and hurts come her way, and now she's just absolutely gone off the deep end, and she just, I mean she didn't want to respect the living environments that anybody had for her. So like she's living in a homeless shelter, and like she just is like choosing a path of life that she doesn't need to choose. And it just is like really hard to watch as like a sister and someone who's like cared for her whole life, and like I can't do anything for her. So I think also there's a part of me that like knows that I can't be in the two places at once, but my desire to care for her in the space that she's in is overpowering my desire to like be here and be present. And at the same time, my desire to be in here and be present is what's keeping me from being able to help her.
Yeah, no, it definitely seems, as you said, chaotic.
Mm-hmm.
And it almost sounds like you're wanting to be three places at once, almost like being at school, being at home, and then being at the homeless shelter with her.
Mm-hmm.
Because tell me about your relationship with the other part of your family. Are you closer with them?
Yeah. I guess we're like okay. I mean, I live independently, so it makes it a little bit more challenging. But like when I go home, I am with my dad and my mom, and we're like all in the same place together. But like I don't know, sometimes there just like feels like there's a disconnect, and like I feel like I've taken more responsibility than like probably what's necessary for me to take. And something that also makes it hard because it feels like they're just kind of like, oh, this is just another situation, it'll solve itself, like we could just let her do her thing, and then when she comes back to her senses, like we'll help her again. But I don't know, that just doesn't seem fair. So I guess my like relationship with them in the past has been like okay, and like we've been close, and like I don't know, like an average family unit. But like yeah, it just like kind of feels like there's an underlying tension now too, where like I just kind of feel bitter towards them. So like I want to be home, but then at the same time I like don't, because I know I feel like I would just be frustrated with them if I was home.
Yeah, you said it, like how they don't seem like they're like present for your sister when she's going through all of that, those hardships that she that's not really her fault because of her disabilities. And it kind of seems unfair to you, having all that pressure on you, and like kind of like puts you in the role of being the parent and like caring so much, and like seeing her as like your daughter instead of your sister. So being at school and like having all of those pressures, and like upcoming graduation, that can be so like feel like you're trying to keep your head above water with all that coming on you.
Yeah, I mean, I think you said that perfectly. I feel like I do take more of like a parental role for my sister than like a sibling role, and that I think that just has to do with the dynamic of my family growing up. But yeah, and I think also it definitely feels like I'm trying to keep my head above water and just like doing enough so that like I don't drown in the chaos. And at the same time, I'm getting really tired of treading water. And
so it seems like to me like you're just finding a way, like, or trying to like take the first step of trying to alleviate some of that pressure that's on you right now, and like just kind of trying to get through the end of school, and like maybe post-grad, like you'll be able to be more present with your family and your sister. I mean, that's what we can hope, but like we don't know the future. But
Yeah, and I think, like, my mindset right now is I just have to get done so that I can go back and, like, care for her.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I think it's making me frustrated that, like, no one else is willing to step up and take care of her, and, like, they're comfortable with just, like, letting her be in a homeless shelter. And yeah, no one deserves that, especially not someone who could have a home. And, like, I know she's not the easiest person to live with, and, like, I lived with her for 16 years. So, like, it is hard, and, like, you have to put effort in, but I just don't see why there's a lack of effort in giving her space to live when, like, I mean, she's their daughter.
Yeah.
Like, she's my sister. Like, I don't know. Yeah.
It seems like to me that you're like trying to somehow make her have like a better life, like a more positive life, like maybe even being able to come home and like be able to like feel like your sister again, like being in the house with you, or like when you come home from where you're living independently, just to have like how it used to be, like just wanting that back, kind of.
Yeah. Like, and part of me just wants to swoop in and just be like, just pick her up and take her away from like anything that is harming her right now. Because I know that like she's also not in the best, like a homeless shelter is not the best environment for an 18-year-old girl to be. And yeah, I don't know. I struggle with, just the life, school, student balance. Because, I'm being pulled in so many directions. And at the same time, like, I don't have the capacity to care for her. And like, even if I were to go and scoop her up and save her from her situation, I don't have the capacity to sustain her where I would take her. And so, I don't know, I think that is causing like some resentment towards my mom and dad, because they like do have a means where they could do that, and they're just kind of like, well, we're just gonna be hands off and let her go. And I know that like in some ways maybe this is like she has to fall and like hit rock bottom before she can like go up and grow, but I don't know, it's just kind of hard to watch someone you love so much hit this kind of rock bottom.
No, it seems like how you're feeling now is just coming from caring so much about her and like wanting her to have a better life, and like to even have like parents that care about her, and like you feel like you have to take on that role because your actual parents aren't doing that for her, and that can create even more heartache and like pressure on you, and like maybe not even like you said, like overpowering your want to be at school because you care for your sister more than your school almost.
And I also kind of feel like in some ways I'm like very intellectualizing the situation, and like I am not like really feeling it though. Like I kind of just like feel like I've had such whiplash in the process of like trying to turn my head towards home and then back to school and then back to home and then back to school, and I just kind of feel like, what am I supposed to think? What am I supposed to do? And like it's just hard to like know what emotions I'm supposed to be feeling, and like know which emotions that like I can let in and which like are not gonna be helpful, and like I can't wallow in them. But like I don't know, it just kind of feels like the back and forth.
Uh,